now have 4 members of the commission present. I am opening
@gmail.com.
the October 19th, 2021 meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded, streamed to the internet, and will show up on TV and our video on demand and on YouTube when we're all done with it. Let me. So thank everyone for being patient. Minutes of the last meeting. So you don't get to vote, Scott.
Oh, okay. Can I do that now?
So I know I read them.
Motion to approve as written.
Second.
Roll call. Clark.
Aye.
Ginalucci.
Aye.
Crane, aye. And
Abstain.
you have to abstain. Done. So I'm just gonna take a moment to take care of the ravines,
Okay.
because, when we get I can clear the building permit tomorrow,
Okay.
but you shouldn't really start work till the orders are extended.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're a little, because they've actually expired, and we can't do that tonight because it's not on the agenda.
Could we lump it in under the discussion topic?
You know what, that's actually a fair point, so if you hand her the form,
I signed it, put my name on it. Good.
Blood type,
to
credit card
Tamika,
number.
after the
Did all.
meeting, remind me, we have a scanner in the other room.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
So you're gonna scan that to the portal
Easy
on
enough.
that?
Actually, I'll
Gonna
scan
send
it
to me.
and send it to her.
Okay.
And then I will get the form that you need. I'll send it to Sue's Gmail and Emily too, just as a backup, and
Okay.
then you're good.
All right, you're done, good luck, thank you.
That's
So
it?
you don't even need, oh, that's right, we need to vote, don't we?
Yeah, you gotta vote.
Yeah.
I just, I don't wanna leave without a vote.
Wait, did I actually pop it up here? Where did it show up?
Under old and new business.
No, I'm wondering about what window. No, that's not, oh, that's right, it was, where did it go? Fine, I'll open it again. Yeah, I'll do this, I'll make it a little bigger so we can read it. So,
I put
Tyler
Tom Remain.
Vilinski's name has been scratched off,
Yep.
and Tom Ravain's name, the builder, is been put in place, and he signed it. That's the change from what you see here. And this is a simple extension. Let's see. Wait, did I miss it? Right, expires in 2024, which ought not to be a problem because I assume building is imminent.
Mhm. Yes.
Great. All right. Take a motion to sign this order of extension.
I'll make a motion to sign the order of extensions.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Langer, aye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Crane, aye. Now you're set. So I'll clear the building permit tomorrow morning and you'll be all set.
And we're all set. Okay, thank you.
Sorry this turned into such a hassle.
Oh, that's
The form
okay.
that I send you guys, the actual extension, that has to be recorded with the registry of deeds.
Yeah, as soon as
So, yeah. you'll just
So
make
we'll
sure
get
you
that
do
over, you'll email it to us, I'll run it down the registry.
Perfect, then you guys will be all set.
All right, great, thanks.
Thanks for your patience.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
So we did get a new order, a new request for extensions for both properties at 271 Glenwood, both parcels. Now the applicant and signature match, so I'd like a motion to sign.
So moved.
Let's be clear,
You get
over.
to sign anything now.
Motion to, I actually do a single motion for both, to do parcel A and parcel B at 271 Glenwood Road. So we sort of have a so moved. I'll accept that.
Second.
There we go. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Langer, aye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Crane, aye. Done. That's both of those. Next is the certificate of compliance for Charles Martin. This is one of the many, 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 many ancient. This is it's from 2003.
I wasn't in town. Can I still vote for this?
I at least lived in town at the time, but
I didn't even live in Central Mass at the time.
Skip's just.
At least you were born.
Fair enough.
That's true.
so unless there's an objection, I can order to sign the certificate of compliance for Charles Martin at 64 Pleasantdale Road.
Sounds fantastic. Make a motion that we sign the order for.
Second it.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Mayor and I.
Gentilucci, aye.
Crane eye. So we're going to try and whip through everything really quickly tonight.
DNR for Peter Crane.
Okay, here we go. This is actually a submission and not a request. This
I put
is,
under submissions.
what's that?
I put it under.
Yes, you did put it under
submission.
submission. It's just,
Okay, yeah,
the other
I did
ones
not
were,
post it.
yeah. So we won't vote on this, but this is a submission of where most of us went on the site walk last week?
Last Friday.
That's right.
Last Friday.
No, 2 Fridays.
No, I was
ago.
gonna
2 Fridays
say,
ago.
yeah.
Last Friday was a cell tower
Oh, yeah.
in the swamp.
I saw that Angela is online, and I also have, hold on. Let's do that one. So the Baharana's online still? Did they stick around this whole time?
We are here.
Angela, you're still muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are. Great.
We're here.
So would you please briefly go over the project for any members who weren't on the sidewalk?
Yes, absolutely. So Lewis and I are looking to extend our backyard. We're just looking for some more space back there. So the back of our yard is a little bit uneven. We have additional land back there, but before we, go any farther, we just want permission to be able to expand the backyard into, the land that we own.
Right, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Thank you for calling us before just doing it.
Thank you.
Scott, why don't you tell us about the sidewalk?
Really?
Really? This doesn't have to be long.
You're talking about they want to go out 20 feet roughly with the bottom of a boulder wall, so they have more room behind for a pool, which all makes sense. It's, I don't want to say questionable conditions on parts of it. Some of it could go either way, but it's definitely the 20 feet is not going to impact anything environmentally. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, if you were going to try to go any farther than that, I would say you definitely need a formal delineation of what's there.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but-
to be clear, the part that is questionable is that there are both upland plants and wetlands plants in the same area. That makes it inconclusive if it's wetlands or not. And in any event, I think everyone on the site walk agreed that we did not foresee a problem with extending back 20 feet. So this is the submission. We'll do the formal process at the next meeting,
November 2nd.
November 2. Does anybody know if November 2 is actually an election day for the town? I know that it's not, I don't know if there are any I don't think there are any state issues, so there may not be election day. That would be the only thing that would complicate it, that's all.
I don't think so, only because at a recent meeting, Anita said that they are quiet right now for elections.
There we go, that's a pretty good indicator to me. So yeah, November 2. I think that's it.
That's it?
And then, yeah, as I said, next time, we've talked about it already, so next time will probably just be a pro forma vote and you'll be all set.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Have a great night. Alrighty, if I can ever work my stupid computer. Okay, that's ancient and that's old. it's time to continue the hearing for Rutland Self-Storage at 232 Barre Paxton Road. We have a DEP. This is the map that you showed us before and talked about previously. I actually can't vote on this
Why?
because I wasn't at the hearing. I missed a meeting of the hearing.
No,
It's okay.
But we determined last time that you could vote because
Yeah.
we didn't do anything at the meeting.
You didn't do
We
anything.
We
Yeah.
just continued it again.
Yeah, yeah, so you can.
So you can vote.
You
So
can
we
vote.
made a note last time.
Okay,
You were here in
Let me put it this way, you voted.
I was here
You're
in
in
spirit. No, it's okay. It doesn't need me,
I know.
fortunately. But
How's-
so the
how's
DEP
that, how's that feel,
number.
Peter?
What's that?
How's that feel not to be needed?
Usual. We have the DEP number 0579, it's gracious, and one comment, test pits are required at the location of any infiltration BMP to verify seasonal high groundwater and soil type. Please provide the soil logs for where BMPs are situated and confirm the depth is at least 2 feet to seasonal high groundwater and or bedrock. A detail on the separation from SHGW. What the heck is SHGW?
That is seasonal high groundwater.
Oh, thank you. Should also be provided. And all treatment trains require an individual TSS worksheet. Please provide ID and TSS sheets for their individual treatment train.
You're making a train?
Yep,
Check it, check.
all aboard.
Is there gonna be a train down there? Train
I'm-
station?
I'm gonna email that sheet, I did bring your copy, somebody has it. It's,
Yes.
And then, like I said, the recharges are literally out of the ground. That whole area was lifted so high that there's no soil logs, there's no groundwater, it's out of the ground,
So that's all filled right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
the whole thing.
That was done ages ago, right?
Yeah, because this was an original plan that was done long ago that expired, so
Mm-hmm.
it was, I couldn't renew it because
I bet you don't
I didn't know they
let anything,
expired.
I bet you don't let anything expire again.
Huh?
I bet you don't let anything expire.
I thought the application expired, it's been so long since I submitted it, to now that we finally get a number, but I guess not, so.
Questions or comments from the commission? Questions or comments from the public? Anyone? Hearing none, is there any reason not to close this hearing?
I don't foresee any.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Motion, yeah, second. Can do that.
Roll call.
Gentilucci, aye.
Lion eye.
Clock eye.
Crane
Where's
eye.
the train going?
There. You're done. That's another
Had you
building permit I can get off my
Thank
list.
you.
See?
No, we gotta vote on the orders.
Oh,
There-
orders.
there
Oh,
standard
details.
conditions?
Yeah,
Are there any, do we need any standard conditions?
just,
Yeah, get
Well,
it done.
special conditions.
Yeah.
Do standard.
Anything beyond our standard conditions is what I meant to say, and I just combined two sentences.
no, it'll flood the road if he screws up, so it's fine.
State road.
Anything for specials, anyone? No?
Just standard.
Standard.
I'd like a motion to sign the standard order of conditions for 232 Barre Paxton Road.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Clock eye.
Lion eye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Crane eye.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
You did a good job.
Alrighty.
What's the date on
I'll
that
get you the
plan?
next couple of days.
1986?
Yeah.
They didn't have storage units back then.
So now it's time to continue the hearing for the Senkos at Turkey Hill Road Lot 1. To remind everyone, this is the plan, and commission, bunch of us did a site walk.
Julian's here.
Our question was all about this farm pond, and boy, did it appear to be wetlands. And so we'd like to have a discussion about that, Julian.
Okay, well, what they hope to do is, the Senkos were hoping that the pond can be eradicated, because they don't like the safety factor of the water in that mucky hole, and they got little kids. And I feel, because it was obviously created with a bulldozer back 50s, maybe 60s, And all the material is actually pretty much right around it, it's just up in the pile. That possibly they could eradicate that and leave that wetland that's defined, don't touch that. So that's what they're hoping to do, because they don't want, they just don't want a pond. If it's okay with the board. And the reason why I think you do have an option, because it was man-made, and it's kind of off on its own, it's quite obvious that this was wet on this side. I think the only reason why this is wet is because of the seepage coming out of here.
Yes.
So, if this gets removed, this is gonna dry up a little bit more. But they're just looking to eliminate a liability of a 2-foot pond that could be a problem in the future. And under the way, I had a situation like this for a solar farm out in western Mass, actually in the town of East Longmeadow. And it was a pond, and it had an out. It didn't have an in, so this is kind of like this, but it was more of a swale. So this one has a little bit more because they built a little dam there, and they're down in the groundwater. And they, in East Longmeadow, under isolated land subject to flooding, they gave it to us because it was a little bit. It was probably close to 4,000 square feet, but it was in the middle of a field. And that one was kind of in the field, but it's just overgrown now.
Right.
Yeah.
So under that provision, it's possible. And then there's one more that I found. It's section, let's see here. Presumption. The presumption is rebuttable and may be overcome only upon clear showing that said land does not play a role in the protection of said interest of the Wetland Protection Act. So what is that really contributing to the main, to the left? The wetlands to the left that come across the road, there's a big culvert pipe under the street and all that. That's all generated way over to the southwest area of the parcel. I think they dug that there for the cows because they probably, they actually hit water at about 2 feet in that area. But they never maintained it.
Do we think that's spring fed?
I know last summer, it was bone dry, you could walk across it. When the first time I went out there when we did the survey, it was actually so thick and full of the
So you think it's
the
groundwater?
thorns that it was like, wow, that's an odd hole right here. And it was bone dry. But this year, of course, nothing's dry.
Right.
So we're hoping to be able to clean that up and then preserve, like I got shown, that area that's flagged, 15 feet, no touch, and then let it go back to natural along that edge. And the house and everything are far enough over to the side. There's a little bit of a banking going towards the field, but it should just alleviate their concerns for having a farm pond that no farm exists anymore. Is that something that you would entertain? I think they're on.
Yeah, they are. I can see them.
Okay.
Let me get the left.
I was just waiting to finish, but yes, we're here.
So where it became more troublesome in my mind is the fact that when we looked at it,
It was probably flowing.
yeah, it was full and sure looked like what looked to me as, I admit, I'm a layperson, like a bunch of wetlands plants.
It's absolutely covered with wetland plants,
Yeah.
no question about it. But its size of being the 2,183 square feet, it's under the 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very close call. If it was 10,000 square feet, I wouldn't even be asking you guys. You know, it's like, and if it wasn't as shaped and defined as dug with a bulldozer. And so,
I don't know, what does the commission think?
I'm on the fence on this one. I think it's, the reasoning for it, completely understand that. I think there is a hydraulic connection, so that's the difference between, say, an isolated wetland or
Yeah.
ILSF and what this could be considered. So I think the question comes down to, does the commission feel that it's considered a resource area? If the answer is no, then it can be filled without any need for replication. Or if we do think it's a resource area, it could still be filled, but there would have to be some replication to make up for what's lost. So I think that's our big question here. And I am on the fence as to how to answer that question.
I'm just gonna say, because of the shape, you got the wetland, if I flagged over here, it would've gone like this and over. So this is just a
But even that
bubble,
wasn't terrible.
bubble pulled out of the top
What's
of it.
that?
The stuff on the other side.
There's nothing coming in wetland wise. It's not like there's a brook
Right.
up here
Mm-hmm.
that's feeding it. It's just, they saw, hey, it's kinda low and wet here, let's dig it out.
Oh, it's
No.
totally man-made.
So,
So is the,
here,
go ahead, go ahead.
now here's my question. How about if you had them, i.e. put rock through the middle of it and then bury it over? So the water will still go if it wants to go.
that would be fine.
So you basically make
So
it,
with a riprap.
you put riprap in the middle of
It's
it,
not bad.
let them bury it over. You're not gonna stop if there is a hydraulic connection.
Right.
Okay?
It's
You're not
still
gonna
gonna
stop
pass
it.
through.
Right.
You're just stopping it from pooling.
Right.
Best of both worlds. I mean,
It's
we
not
all,
like
agree,
the-
we all agree it's man-made.
We do, and I just,
The
my,
bird-
my only question is, the hypothesis is that that's being filled basically by groundwater runoff of the area just collecting there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which I'd buy on a year like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
And as we
Yeah.
and as we know, I mean, you're seeing cattails grow in places they shouldn't be growing.
Yeah.
But if you left that, if there was whatever, if you did it that way, I think, with riprap in the middle of it, and then you go over it, if it wants to be there, it's gonna at least still go to where it's
It'll-
already going.
it will find a way, so.
And it
And you're not trying to block it to start with, you're giving it a path.
Mhm.
it solves the safety concern.
And it takes the safety concern, takes everything, it's not a huge cost, because all the other dirt's still there.
Yep.
And I think it's a best of both, and I don't think it affects any resource area that there is, or isn't. Doesn't change much, just stops the pooling. And on average, it'd probably be dry 80% of the year. It'll run in the spring and stop. That was my thought after looking at it, going, okay, because everybody's on the fence. You going, that's kind of a best of both.
Yeah, I don't know that we'd ever find a better solution than that. I mean, granted, I'd leave it to an engineer to, but,
I think that's a feasible thing for everybody.
yeah.
It's a reasonable solution.
It's
What's your input?
on my
Me, I would build a pond.
I know you would. I know
You
You
remember?
make it bigger. Right.
But yeah, I also, I had 3 kids and that was always a concern, and that was always, the worst part about it is it's only this deep and you think what's the big deal? Well,
Yeah,
that
that's-
doesn't freeze like a pond does, and you do break through it.
Right.
And it does get a little scary. I mean, our eyes were like hawks growing up with our kids.
Yeah.
But it was a whole different animal. I mean, that's as big as this room. We built an acre and a half.
Right.
So, and if it wasn't just like an attachment to the resource, if it was like in the middle of it and now you want to fill in the middle of the swamp, it's part of it, but it's
Right.
kind of a projecting, finger-like projection.
So,
What are your thoughts here?
what would you like, a motion to state that we put riprap down through the middle of it, and,
Well, if anything, we would put that in the orders.
all right.
Yeah.
No, I have no problem with it. I mean, I love kids, I don't wanna see, safety was my big thought.
Yeah, and then the material, the earthen material of whatever riprap you know, or whatever,
It's already there,
yeah, you just sort of
just fold
push it back in again.
Right, and let the water completely flow to
Right.
the way it's been flowing.
That sounds like a very reasonable solution to a complicated problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when we do the conditions on it, I think it's just one of those until it's established, double lines or something like that.
Right.
Let it get established and grown, and guess what? At that point,
Mhm.
it's not gonna be anything different than that's on the lower part. That's naturally there already.
Yeah.
And
And it'll go back to the old water flow once all that.
You know what?
Burning is
and
out.
even that, you know what? Go a step further on the conservative side of it. Just go nothing can be built on it. They can't put a shed on it afterwards. You can't put a shed on. Do a no build on top of. Because now you got both sides. Because you've now established it to do what it's going to do naturally. But guess what? We're not digging it back up in 5 years and saying I'm put a two-car garage over it because now it's dry.
Mhm.
So put a no build on it on that piece. So I think you've covered every base, and that just popped in my head now.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea though.
Because I was, hey, we let you drain it.
Well,
Oh,
we
next
have
thing
to
you know,
put
they're
that-
building
So
something
it's
on it.
maintained
But-
that way in perpetuity.
Right, it's
Yeah.
just it's going to be grass or it's going to be whatever, but
Yep.
but that's all in conditions.
Yeah, right.
That goes in conditions, but I think that really satisfies everything.
Okay.
That's
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, great. I'm sorry, I didn't say anything because I don't know a lot about this. I'm just listening.
That's
But
good.
me and my
Everything's
wife are
good.
both.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah, we're both listening. I think that's a fair. That's pretty fair. You know, I mean, we're not planning on building anything over there. We just kind of want to, like you guys were saying, just backfill with what's there and let it do its thing.
well. The biggest thing is if you put that no build on there, that stays. So if you sell the house, that somebody doesn't come in and put a three-car garage on top of it.
Oh, okay. Yep, gotcha,
that-
makes sense.
So it protects the integrity of the area over time, I guess.
Okay.
Wow, that was actually something
Yeah.
So
No, I
All in
appreciate
favor?
that works for us.
Yeah.
All right, great. Other questions or comments from the commission?
No.
Questions or comments from the public? Hearing nothing, so I've heard two special conditions.
what are we doing conditions tonight, or we're closing the hearing?
Close
We
the
gotta do
Well, we're gonna
both.
close there, but I figure we can, I think having a discussion tonight about the special conditions is the right thing to do, and then we'll give ourselves until the next meeting to think a little more about them.
Okay.
And we'll actually issue them next time.
Yeah, well, I'd do three. I would definitely, when it's being done, definitely double protection on the bottom side
Mm-hmm.
until it's established.
Mhm.
No build on top of, and it's the whole idea of putting riprap down through the middle of it.
Do me a favor, get wording to Tamika so we can get him properly in the,
Okay.
and we can wordsmith him next time, but let's just get her.
Okay, I'll get you something. But I think that really covers every base as best
Right.
as
That's,
What was the first one? I've got the no bill on top, I've got the riprap. with the
double
ground.
double protection on
Erosion control.
erosion control.
Okay.
Not that there's that much water, but
Until established?
until established.
Is there any reason not to close this hearing?
Peter, do you just want to double check the DEP number, because I'm not certain if there was any comment on it? Came in a while ago, so I can't remember.
Especially something like that.
Do you have the number, Julian?
I think I do. I hope I do.
This is lot one, right?
Folder. I think it's right there, actually.
Yeah,
Or is that
no
DEP?
comments.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, there is a comment. Applicant should specify seed mix prior to the close of the hearing. That's an interesting comment.
Grass.
Grass.
How do we have seed
Conservation mix.
I don't, yeah, you know what, I thought exactly the same thing when I
It's gonna
saw
be-
it, that's
They
being
just
oddly
pick things.
specific.
Are they?
They needed to say
Are they
something.
just referencing the lawn areas?
I assume that they mean,
Must be, right?
I assume they mean for this farm pond.
It's just gonna be grass.
Maybe grass.
Put grass over it.
That's a new one.
Yeah, they didn't specify where.
Let's use a flower mix for the bees.
Well, I was gonna suggest maybe like
Butterflies.
like a meadow mix, something
Yeah.
like that with,
I
yeah,
would.
yeah. It'll stabilize quickly, but it also grows pretty thick too.
Perfect.
Okay.
Easy. Any other comments? Any
I guess
other
I'll
comments? Thank you
try
for
to
referring us to that. Yeah. All right, motion to close, please.
So moved.
Second.
And a third. Roll call.
Clock eye.
Langer and I.
Jeff Lucci, aye.
Crane eye. All right.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too. All right, those are all of our
See you guys
hearings.
later.
Take care.
We've already dealt with and dispatched 160 Wachusett Street. Jared, why don't you talk about our sidewalk at the proposed cell tower, please?
Sure. So, 12 Phillips Road is the address. However, we accessed it from the driveway between Naquag and Central Tree. And so heading down that driveway, we were probably, well, I don't know, probably a good 2/3 to 3/4 of the way down. And they're planning to put the cell tower, trying to remember, I think they said it's like a 60 by 60 area?
Yeah.
Give or take. It's gonna go on the left side of the road as you're heading down to Center Tree, which would be I believe that's the north side, if I have my directions correct. I'll call it the fenced-in area where the cell tower's gonna go. It is completely outside the 100-foot buffer. And I actually have the plans up.
With a little room for expansion.
Wow.
What?
I'm surprised.
That it's completely outside?
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, because I walk up there, that's my morning walk, and you're looking and you're looking to go, there's a lot of water in there.
They found a spot that's outside the 100-foot. There was an isolated wetland that they actually said they moved it a little further away from the isolated wetland, but that's small enough that it's not jurisdictional, so it doesn't really factor in. I know there was some discussion. Chris Lucas
Mhm.
talked about some changes to Zone A in that area. Doesn't really impact us a lot, but he filled us in on it. Let us look at the plans that they submitted to Mass DEP.
Basically, a couple streams that had been called continuous in Zone A that he found breaks in, so the Zone A got reduced.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So it makes Rutland Heights more acceptable. Oh,
One problem at a time.
And I believe they're planning to submit. I don't know if they have yet. It was an RDA,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Which I think we all agreed was appropriate. Because again, they're not doing any work.
They're not doing any work
Resource
in
area,
100
buffer
at all,
zone.
and it is purely, let's everybody get paperwork in so everybody's
Even to
touched.
get into it?
They don't go very far in.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Here, actually, the plan right with me.
Yeah, I never got that electronically to put it up, but
So here's the pad where it's going to sit.
and for those interested,
Green lines
Oh,
and 100
okay.
buffers.
it actually cuts in, so they're getting power off pole number 10. The entrance is between pole 10 and 11, which is pretty close to Central Tree.
Yeah, it's pretty far down.
Yeah.
Yeah, past
Okay.
the ball field,
Yeah.
almost down to the parking lot at Central
Mm.
Tree.
It's a big little, you know, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see there is that little isolated wetland, which we did take a look at. It's pretty small.
Yeah.
It doesn't qualify as ILSF, so it's not jurisdictional. They're not impacting it directly anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to file a commitment road anyway, so.
Yeah. So we don't have any action to take tonight but we know they'll send us an RDA and we'll do our thing with the RDA because that's the best thing to do.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments on the tower?
Nope.
Street acceptance requests. So Clee has started the process of getting roads accepted, and he hopes, prays, to get it onto the town meeting warrant. I don't know that that's going to happen, just because of the time. Town meeting, by the way, is officially November 18th. So there's not a lot of time to get all the work done, including the hearing that the select board needs to have. And I personally would request that they not lay the way for Maple Hill Estates until after the conservation restriction is complete. Conservation Commission, I believe, has no comments on acceptance of any of Phase 2 Brice Lemon, which is yet another segment of Woodside up to basically the dirt.
Okay.
And then that little one, is that Oakley Drive, I think, is that last off,
Yes.
that last cul-de-sac up there.
Yeah.
That's all that would be part of this. Fundamentally, everything's fine, and planning board is taking care of all the issues. And by taking care of, I mean they're concerning themselves with making sure the stormwater's right, and everybody's happy, and all that's done. So I don't believe Concom has any comment in Brice Lemon.
Yeah, none of that's within 100 feet of any of the resource areas.
A
right?
couple of them are. A couple of the individual proproperties.
That stretch of the road, though, is not, like, none of the road itself is, right?
No, I don't believe it is. No, it's the lots
Yes.
are inside the
Yeah,
100,
the road is
but
not.
the road is not.
Yeah, and we have orders of conditions for some of those lots that have already
Yes.
come through.
And they do have to still abide by the superseding orders from DEP anyway.
Right,
Right.
yeah, I'm just looking at the plan they submitted.
I mean, he's got a ton of work to do before.
Yes.
I mean, I was up there today, and it's like, oh gosh, I can't believe you're gonna try to submit that and have it done in a month.
Yeah, and one of Clee's misconceptions is that the town is allowed to skip over a warrant article. So his hope is that it would be placed and then we would just skip over it if it wasn't all done. But that is not the way this town works.
No, that
Most towns don't.
Most towns don't, so I don't
Not for
know
this type of
which
acceptance.
ones.
well, he got that very clear last time on Bear Hill when all the lot lines were stuff, the markers weren't in and stuff like that. Like, nope.
Yeah.
When you're done, it's not. We're gonna finish.
Yeah.
So questions or comments on anything that we've, on that so far?
No, just really nothing until it actually says it's done, and then we go, okay, it is or isn't.
I agree, so let me close this one. So now we're moving on to 165 Cannon Road in Jefferson.
I took it upon myself to reach out to Mr. Purcell, because I had already communicated with him previously, just to ask for a little bit of clarification, because I know when you guys discussed it, you were kind of like, well, what does conservation plan mean? So this was the reply that he gave.
Yes, and it is a fascinating reply, so I would ask you to reach out to him again.
Okay.
So I'm ignoring a lot of this stuff. The point that's important to me is that the conservation plan is not yet complete. So I'd like to know when it's going to be complete. I can understand that statement that he's not authorized to share any information with you about the site. I get that. But we need to know when to ask the owner for the conservation plan to see what's in it.
Okay.
Because that's what we will do. And if the owner does not give us a copy of the report, we will continue with our administrative warrant to gain access to the property.
Why would we stop the administrative warrant? Because
Oh.
we already think if we already think there's a violation, why are we waiting for paperwork?
Fair question.
Because you're just giving it more time. It's like we've asked a million times,
That's true.
and you go, okay, you can wait. Well, okay, now it's 6 months, another 6 months, and oh, I didn't give it to you, and now you start all over again. You've already started down that one path, and you still have to be able to walk the property to verify the wetlands, because we're technically the ones that verify the wetland line. So no matter what he comes up with, we have to still physically walk the property.
We will have to, that's true.
Period. To accept what he wrote. So no matter what, you need access to the property. So I don't think I'd stop the
Noticing the last line said that she can share the plan with you if she chooses to.
Right.
Well, there's that also.
She's not out.
Which is why I said if she doesn't, then there's no question.
But that's the thing is, I don't think I'd back off on the other one.
Yeah, I think what we need to find out from town council, and hopefully we get an answer in a lot less than a month, is if we put in the paperwork today and it's issued in a week, how long is that warrant good for?
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to, I do want to give the landowner every opportunity to cooperate.
Really?
I do.
What-
In spite, I know what's happened, I remember. So if it's good for a long time, let me just pick a number, 6 months.
I think they're short time.
But if they're,
Just like any other warrant's a short time.
right,
I mean, regular warrants are like 24 hours. So even something like that, I can't.
they're only good for 24 hours?
Oh yeah, because otherwise you can go anytime you wanted. A lot of time, yeah. So it's one of those. So this is one, and this has been going on. If you know, again, I mean, I got back on the board when, and this was already going then.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so it's like okay, and no matter what, you have to walk property. So walk it now with a warrant,
Well, we
and then
do-
you can walk it again to verify.
We definitely want to walk it before weather gets bad.
Yeah, I would continue with the.
All right.
I hate to say it, but weather's going to come faster than not, and we don't know how long. I mean, we've been asking for a warrant for a long time, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, then last time we learned that everything you would do was wrong, we had to start again, and I
Right.
haven't yet,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I will.
But that's my impression on it.
Yeah.
It is October 19th. And it's not something that's going to require one site visit, period.
The other thing we need to find out from town council is, who else are we allowed to invite beyond the conservation commission?
Oh, no,
I don't know.
Meaning.
shoot by here for an hour.
DCR.
Yeah.
And Board of Health.
Hopefully, it will not take 6 weeks to get a reply.
Better not.
on that.
So, that's my opinion on it.
Would NRCS specifically look at wetlands? I don't think they would.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they would. So, yeah, I'm kind of siding with you here, Scott. No matter what comes out
Gee,
of,
thanks.
no matter what comes out of, whatever comes out of coordination with NRCS, I'm not sure it's gonna have a lot of bearing on
All right.
our interests. Maybe it will, but I'm not sure that it will.
And again, it's not going to be a one-site visit no matter what it is. If she let us on tomorrow, we'd look at it, then you'd still want to see it after the report so you can physically see the report. So it's, you're talking 2-3 visits, period, whether they're court ordered or not.
So who's actually doing the report?
It says,
Who is actually doing the report?
I believe Robert Purcell, the report or the warrant?
The report.
Robert Purcell from NRCS.
Okay,
do we know Robert Purcell from?
I do from last Tuesday night.
Oh.
We could go tonight.
Okay.
Oh, yes, sitting right over there
Okay.
with McGovern and all the rest of them.
Oh, that other meeting,
Yes,
okay.
that other meeting, yes.
Care who he sits with. It doesn't. We sit at an altar, look at us.
And this is, I just noticed, so he works for NRCS and he has a USDA email address.
So,
I wonder if Lyndon knows him.
It works in.
Oh, yes, Lyndon knows him.
I think
Okay.
NRCS is like a sub-department under the USDA.
Yes,
But they-
it is a spin-off, and
Yeah.
but there you
they're
go.
all in the same building.
But there you go. You got a USDA guy going to tell you what wetlands
That's
and a
what-
water
that's
and a
what I
water
was-
resource.
That's what I was thinking.
No.
I don't think they'll get that detailed.
Yeah, USDA is going to take the side of agriculture.
I mean, a big thing they look at is soil. Like, I use them a lot for soil mapping, but that doesn't necessarily give you information on wetlands. It can provide background info, but it doesn't give you direct
And
information.
don't forget, we're not just talking wetlands. You're talking drinking water resource,
Right.
which is
That's true.
which is a trump card.
Yeah.
Wetlands are wetlands. It's bad enough if you screw them
And I'll
up.
quote, what makes you think it's water, drinkable water? I mean, yeah,
Water resource.
water resource. What makes you think that? That's what I was told. What makes you think that?
DCR. And the watershed protection people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I would definitely try to push through the smoke and mirrors.
All right.
we have to vote on that?
No.
Okay.
I've actually,
We don't, we don't
already
have,
did.
we don't have, well, did we?
Yeah, you had done a motion to, proceed with
To
the
proceed with it,
administrative
okay, so we've
process.
already,
We already did.
Yeah, but I think we're better off to continue.
all right,
If they wanna give us other information in between, fine, we still gotta walk it.
I'll find some time to write something. That'll pass the lawyers.
I can work on the paperwork too.
Well, most of it's to the lawyers and go, we need this now.
No, we have to tell them what sections of the law specifically that are alleged to have been violated.
They can't help us with that?
Water protection.
Town council? I wouldn't expect so.
But yeah, time ticking and everything,
Yeah, all right.
so, sorry, Peter.
Anything else on 165 Cannon?
Nope.
I'm gonna skip over bylaw and regulations again, because again, we're having a small group. So I'll ask the magic question, is there any more business before the commission? From here, the public, anybody?
You want a motion to adjourn?
Oh, actually, I might
In a moment, yeah.
comments on Charnock Hill from Jennifer.
Oh, Sassawana?
Sassawana, yeah, sorry, Sassawana. Because you sent it to everybody. I talked to Peter and I were casually talking beforehand. My only thing on that is, she's telling us that, but if it's not registry of deeds,
If the registry, if the
if they-
conservation
if-
restriction allows them
allows them to
build
have
a-
one house, even though they sold, if that didn't change in the registry of deeds, he's probably can still have a house. Because otherwise, I mean, Jennifer's really good. She probably would have said, hey, here's where you gave up that caretaker's house. And if it's not, he can still own the house. As far as I'd be concerned.
Yeah.
That's him in DCR.
Right, the fast answer is, it is not Concom. It is an interesting legal question that,
Right. But because it all came to us,
yeah,
that's just, we were talking about it earlier and I kind of went, you know, that's kind of one of those you go, well. So.
I think she said in the email she was gonna be sending something to
Yeah.
him, so I imagine at that point, he'll probably.
Hopefully
go
she'll
into it
copy us.
And say,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm going to reach out to her anyways.
okay.
And ask her and go, do you have the registry of deeds back? Do you have where it's filed? Because I'd like to see it. Just not to say it's wrong, but
Yeah,
you know, the guy has a beautiful piece of property that's going to be trampled on. And like he says, if he could put something out there that somebody was a caretaker of the property,
yeah,
it'd probably be a pretty good gig.
Mm.
He's
definitely.
Be
so
in the property's best interest.
in the property's best interest and everybody's, even DCR's best interest because there's a pond in the middle of it.
True.
So
but the downside of that is that he could then sell that piece of property to somebody and then build another house.
no, they can put the deed restriction in then.
Yeah.
So you think when that piece was sold,
That's the house out
they
front.
didn't update the deed?
If they didn't update it, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like on the cow pond
Yeah,
that I want to put, it's in there. You
Yeah.
can't build on top of this.
right,
It's on there forever.
right.
If this guy, they said because it was because they sold all the development rights to DCR when they went through that, so they got paid,
Mhm.
but it allowed the caretaker's house. So they sold the caretaker's house, but if they never took off the fact that the original deed says you can have a caretaker's house on the property,
Yeah,
it's like I have, off of my property, I have right-of-ways and farm easements over a lot of my neighbors' properties. They still exist, they're on my deed. You can't, they don't disappear. So
should
it's,
modify them,
unless you modify them and say, by the way, this ends.
yeah.
So that's one of those, for something like that, it's not trying to screw anybody, but it's one of those you go, I think that piece of property would be a lot better maintained with some type of a caretaker on it. And, hey, maybe they did it.
So there was a caretaker's.
That's the house right out front. There's a farmhouse right out front, and they sold it. They allowed them to sell it,
Okay,
and I'm like, okay, well, you didn't own it, so how'd you allow them to sell it?
yeah,
But it got sold, well, if you never took the fact that in the original deed, when they sold the development rights to the property, off,
Yeah, but this
that's,
also
that's,
gets,
that's legal, that's all for him to
it gets
figure out.
into a weird legal battle because the restriction still applies to that lot that has been sold. So,
Oh yeah, it's all for them, but it's one of those, I don't, you know, again, most of that stuff I like when it comes with a, hey, here's where it signed off on that when it was sold, you can never put another house on this. Because we all saw it. So that's the same reason I made a comment in
Yeah.
open meeting.
No problem.
Okay,
Okay, make a motion to close.
hold on,
No,
almost.
I tried.
What?
I tried.
You tried?
I want to say, anybody who has not watched the Open Space Committee's meeting from last Saturday, watch it. Very surprisingly informative. And believe it or not, it was actually useful.
Okay.
It's just under 2 hours long, I'm sorry to say. And I think I make 3 appearances. Because a couple of times I had to run out from the TV studio and say, oh, wait a minute.
Hold on a second. I appreciate your input, Peter. It was helpful.
Sure.
Always.
There's one other thing, but I can't think of it, so because I can't think of it, we'll take a motion to close.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, I'm supposed to do a roll call vote, aren't I?
Gentilucci, aye.
Thank you,
Clock, aye.
Crane, we are adjourned. Thanks everybody for showing up and for hanging out for a while.